Morning. Greetings. Guten Tag, Talafalava. Welcome to this morning's so-called preaching. Well, some of you might think it's probably a lecture. I think it's more lecture than preaching, right? Whichever way you take it, this morning, it's very important that I need to touch base with connect with the Snow Cane Club congregation, Snow Sheep, Snow Shepherds, Knights and Chiefs, 150 Days War Program, SCC 1, SCC 2, Precious Little Munchkins, Special Lots, Sorry Lots, and everyone. Remember, I probably do this more at the moment for my benefit. Let's just be honest. This is probably for my benefit, and also it's for the benefit of people that understand my type of preaching, type of shepherding. But at the moment, as I said, I'm still in the process of unpacking. That's correct. So yes, I probably will pray that KT Sawyer special prayer today at some stage, but I did pray it yesterday, or a couple of other days. So now this morning, I think the subject matter is, where does all those millions and millions, 750 million, all the money that the Maoris in this country, Aotearoa New Zealand, in this country where I reside at the moment, that I'm still a citizen of, that it's a pain, all right, for me personally. Anyway, where all their millions and millions of dollars go to. That's great, because that was the mystery as well I was trying to unravel. I really don't care what the people of Aotearoa or the Maoris in this country do with their millions as well as their billions, because after all, it appears that the government of New Zealand has always accepted that they are entitled, ever since the establishment of the Lands Tribunal, the Treaty of Waitangi Tribunal, land claims 1975, that these people were more privileged than any other citizen in this country, to file such claims. And of course, a lot of some of the so-called tribes have received their so-called billions, have been compensated by the Crown insurmountably. So I really don't care what they do with their millions and billions. But as an illustration, but out of interest, the fact that I'm a victim, that's great. I have been targeted by two most notorious criminal organizations in this country, and that is the KKK and the MMB. And I don't know how that happened. That's great. And it looks like it's been going right back to 1996, and then 2001 with a computer course, that's Carriage Computer Course. Now, of course, the couple is likely to deny it, but it's hard to deny when you've got the certificate that proves that that was the course. And of course, you got the proof as well who ran the course. Sita Valuk, that's great. Sita as Z-I-T-A, first name and last name, Valuk, V-L-O-K. South African? South African. So every South African out there in New Zealand will know that that is a South African last name. Yes. So she can't deny that. That's great. That I didn't enter their property at some time, that course, computer course. And so she can't deny that she wasn't there at the course. Although, as criminals, just like this one here in number 10, they would always deny, they would always lie straight. Yeah, they would deny. Then my question is, why did you target then? Why did you take advantage of this meek? Noble. If you knew that I wasn't a member of your organization from the outset, that's great. Why did you target? Why did you take advantage of the so-called? That's correct. Why did you bother to invite me to come to your home? If you were going to take full advantage of that encounter, that's great, or that connection. That's a really good question. So my guess is, this criminal organization, like the KKK, they like to take advantage of people. That's great. Especially non-members, for what they can get out, especially if they're going to get some form of reward or integrity, or especially respect. I don't know. this criminal organization, in terms of the KKK MMB, they seem to be not only in the, in the business of, of hunting. And I mean hunting down, potential, lucrative victims or persons, but they're also in the business of getting respect, not getting, but sort of, they must have a bank that's called the Respect Bank. And it looks like they're also in the business of, collecting not just money for what they can get, but collecting respect for their organization over the years, in the last 60 years. So how do they do that? Well, they have to mingle with powerful people. And that powerful people in society, or even in this country and right around the globe, which might be business wealthy people or people that have got some influential status, that are part of the elites, or that might be celebrities. That's great. These sort of organization, the MmbKkk, would seek out those sort of people, and they might become so-called sponsors or benefactors or beneficiaries. That's great. Or even associates, and for some actually have become members of their organization, especially the KKK one. So that's how they mislead. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, if they call themselves a criminal organization, a gang criminal organization, well, that's exactly what it is. There couldn't be anything other than just that. Even when they have the Ku Klux Klan. So even if they have, it's amazing what these criminals actually do to get integrity and respect for their organization. So if members if professors like Matthew Palmer, Chief Justice Matthew Palmer, and lawyers like Anthony Shaw, he's well known around the globe, that's correct, all over legally, and even especially in England, the Privy Council and whatnot. If he becomes an associate of the MMB or even the KKK and even a member, well, automatically that organization, gets misled. That's correct. That now they ought to be respected more. They ought to be given more respect by other people. That's great, because we've got somebody very important that's just joined our criminal organization or has just signed up to our organization. Now, for me personally, it gives kind of like a false hope, but false illusion. That's all illusions. That's great. What that tells me is if people like that want to give integrity and want to endorse the people like that are in criminal organizations, I'm afraid you must be a sick person. You've got to be a sick person. You must be mentally disturbed. You must be a sex addict. You must be a maniac, but you must be deranged. That's correct. To sign up to crazy organizations like that. I mean, I can understand from a German point of view as a German Parker. That's correct. Why, why the Germans ran away with Adolf Hitler as well. Why they gave Adolf Hitler their so-called backing, their support. That's correct. Despite he was an evil dictator. That's great. He's an evil German. That's great. But you see, a lot of Germans would have understood him. So in this case, I guess what I'm saying is the government of New Zealand, they must be deranged. They must be evil son of a bitches to be giving millions and millions and millions endorsements and respect to such criminal organization. But I mean, if over the years, in the last 60 odd years, that important people like powerful celebrities have actually become associates and even sponsors, donated millions as well to those criminal organizations, well, then that's how they get respected. But remember, guys, just remember this. Just because a celebrity or somebody very important might have sex with one of your members or one of your so-called beautiful, standby, that's correct, sideshows, well, they couldn't be a ladybird, because those are my terms and those are my titles as well. They got nothing to do with your organization and not even the KKK. So you guys don't use my play or any of my intellectual property, all right? Because your stuff is unclean and not blessed like mine. That's correct. So just because somebody is a celebrity, a powerful person, becomes part of your organization or donates money and stuff like that, it does not make your organization, righteous, just, righteous, godly, clean, and holy and sanctified. No, it doesn't. At the end of the day, you're still on the wrong side of the track. You're still doing evil. That's correct. But the person that has done that, given you their so-called good luck or whatever, I'm sorry, but they have to be insane. They must be sick. Now, they must be sick with erythemania. That's correct. What else? They must be racist. They have to be racist. Otherwise, that's correct. And they must be prejudiced, meaning they favor their people because they're white people. That's correct. That's why they would donate and support people that are in the KKK. Because after all, well, they actually know them and they like them and they might be related to. And the same with the MMB, that's correct. But at the end of the day, they must be sick with erythemania. They must be sick with incest. They must be sick with pedophilia. They must be sex addicts. Or they must have, a fetish of violence. They must have a hatred, a passion to hate women and control other people. That's correct. It's the first indication to me. If somebody is mentally disturbed but unwell, unfit, unsound in their mindset, when they give money and support criminal organizations like that who commit crimes, raping children from as young as a toddler, that's correct, as 10 years old, 5 years old, 6 years old, right through the 11, 12, 13, and even before 15. Yeah. And they use the term, and they rape women. This is one of their weapons that they use a lot. And they'll probably, if they rape women, then they must do the same to the men and young boys to discipline them. And also to, to teach them lessons. Now, is that good? Would I, as a celebrity, let alone a royal or a noble, want to donate millions to an organization that actually ruins? Children, as I've been taught by my mother, children are the gift, are the golden gifts, precious gifts from God. But if you've got, violent men like that, that's correct, running those criminal organizations where they think it's their right to do that kind of evil, I'm sorry, but it's just as well that they are slaves and that they treat everybody in the organization as a commodity. Nothing more than a commodity and a chattel. That's correct. If you start doing harms like that to children as well as pets, where you are cruel to them, and you're cruel even to women, so cruel with your so-called, criminal harmful protocols and forms of disciplines, I'm sorry, but you must be an ungodly, racist, arrogant, evil son of a bitch. That's correct. Well, I know my Queen Snowbrown does not condone any of those sort of terrible, heinous tortures, against children and pets and even women. Now, is that a sign of weakness? No. For reborns like myself, that's correct. I don't like, in fact, I can't even stand KKK. and even MMB, because I pretty much know what they're like. And I would never want to be part of criminal organizations like that. Well, I think I'm a royal. I should know better. My head is screwed in the right way. Thank God, that's correct. Thank also my Lord for opening my eyes. My eyes, there were times when I would have been in the darkness, but at the moment my eyes are full of light. And I speak with wisdom, but with experience as well. And I'm warning now. I'm giving a warning out there to a lot of the people in this country. And I'm talking about Maoris. Because there's 800,000 of you now. But you are the most devious, evil race, indigenous people in this country. Why? Well, you see, the fact that it was a mystery for me to find out. Why was the government giving you so much money, 750 million and whatnot, during the pandemic that we had? And I suddenly realized that you're in a treaty apartheid partnership. You're in some sort of, dodgy partnership. Where if you do things according to the Pākehā instructions and directions, you get rewarded. And of course, if the Pākehās satisfy and do, your agreements, that's right, fulfill all the agreements from the Maoris in this country, then the Maoris will satisfy them insurmountably, infinitely. Oh, they would satisfy them. All their needs, that's correct. But so the saddest, probably the saddest part about this unpacking that I discovered here at this address, it was that the fact that the Maoris, were the white niggers in this country, especially the KKK, all the millions, the money that the government pays them, they use that money to pay people in this country. Not only to pay their members, but more so to pay people to deny the so-called, the non-Maoris and non-members in this country the enjoyment of their full privileges, and deny their blessings, deny their an opportunity, deny them so-called their privileges, and also to dictate to their privileges, to apply their arbitrary dictatorships. So I guess what I'm saying is that it looks like the KKK has been doing a lot of paying, paying out huge amounts of money to have me control all these years, especially here at the so-called address in the last 8.5 years, going on 9 years. So seriously, which one of you got paid money or had sex with the KKK or an MMB? That's great. During this so-called, well, in the last 5 years, especially from 2018, or let's just say ever since I moved here, 29 of April 2012, though it looks like the arbitrary dictatorships and the criminal harm protocol have been applied. So every harm that's come my way, the KKK has paid somebody money, or had sex with somebody to have me doubt to. So which one of you, out of the local community right now, and even here in the Wellington region, because, if the government of New Zealand gives the Maoris 750 million, what do you suppose they are capable of using some of that money for? Well, they can buy out a whole township. In fact, they can buy out the whole country. That's correct. With that kind of amount of money, maybe only a very small fraction of that 750 million would go to build the facility that they're talking about. But the rest, some of that money is actually used by the MMB and even the KKK to pay people, to control people, to pay the people that they whether it be in the system or the government, like Mr. Anthony Shaw or Chief Justice Matthew Palmer, or somebody at Work and Income, or even food bank, or even MmbKkk Club. I mean, they don't give you that 7 years banning decision that you went through, the 5 years and 2 years trespass notice, unless somebody got paid money, unless they were given some money by the organization, which means they must have been paid a lot of money. And they must have also been given some other privilege as well regarding that decision. Now, is that right to do that kind of thing? To use people that are not even members of the organization? And to take advantage of them? So they go and damage my reputation and my good name, and yet they enjoy sex with members of the organization, and they also get paid lots of money. Now, is that right? No, that ain't right at all. They deserve the death penalty. As well as, jailbird. That's correct. That ain't right at all. Come on now, Kiwis. Come on now, New Zealand. You know better. But you see, if you've got over 70 criminal organizations, you know the temptation is high. That's correct. You can't resist the temptation. I mean, if these people have been doing this thing throughout, during my so-called, it's no wonder my poor company, or my poor monarch, couldn't prosper, because I have a funny feeling that they probably were all paid money. So to deny me a donation. So which one of you got paid money by the KKK on behalf of the MMB to deny me a donation to my so-called intellectual property? Which one of you were paid money to hack into my Facebook? To do what you did? That's correct. So which one of you also paid money down at the food bank or offered up sex? The KKK, so that, because I wouldn't be surprised if they got $1,000 donation regarding just a recent restriction on my food bank parcel. That's correct. Now, is that right to use people like that? Especially a meek noble like me? I am globally well known. That's correct. How dare you people are despicable but rude. How dare you go behind my back, that's correct, where you are accepting money. I don't know what you would call that. Would you call that blackmail? No, that's bribery. But also that would contravene the Crimes Act 1961 and also the Crime of Torture Act 1989 because, well, somebody is being controlled and being denied the enjoyment of her full privileges in the background. That's correct. While everybody else is enjoying their full privileges, they're not being dictated to and controlled. Now, that's not right, New Zealand. I don't like at all what I'm picking up. I'd hate to think that my sister might have accepted. I'd hate to think that my second sister, that's correct, who's got 4 children, who live in a little hut, who looks up, takes good care of my mum, who lives with them. And of course, her 4 children, get this, they got Chinese heritage in their DNA, that's correct, through their daddy's so-called side. As their grandmother is a half-caste Chinese Samoan, that's correct. Robin's mom, that's correct. So what does that mean? Well, my sister's children are very special because not only do they have Chinese, blood now inside their veins, they got German, Scottish, and English, and also noble Samoan, but they are of royal status. They're full royals. But what's happened is that the KKK has been taking full advantage of our royal family. Remember, we are royals. We are not commoners. That's correct. So why do you need to go and pay people money to deny our immediate family the enjoyment, our privileges, when we are not commoners and we are not criminals and we're not convicts? Why did you need to do that, Maoris? That is just so evil but despicable. You shouldn't be doing that at all. Not to a royal family, that's for sure. Why don't you do that to your own members? Your own slaves, that's correct, that's inside your criminal organizations. How dare? Can you imagine that? Oh my God, I can't imagine that even the paramedics might have actually taken advantage of your tendency here where There was one time I rang the 111 because I had a, I felt like I was sick with something. And get this, they didn't turn up till 3 hours later. And some of the tenants, some of the people that are connected to these evil son of a bitches inside this so-called address, they were sitting on the stairwell. They were sitting up at the top here, the level where my address, waiting for these so-called paramedics to arrive. But it looks like that they had either, the KKK had actually paid the paramedics money, or had sex with them to deny the full privilege, to delay the arrival. Now, is that right or is that wrong? Man, people like that should be put to death, let alone that's arrested for taking advantage of you like that. Just because I live among members of don't mean that the KKK can come here and take advantage, full advantage. That's correct. Where they are paying their members or their associates money, that's correct, to dictate to my privileges. That is not right. That is evil. I hope that the government of China is listening to this videotape, because I tell you right now, the government of China or the Prime Minister of China, he would totally agree with me. That's correct. You should declare war. I'd already done it. You're right, Honorable the Prime Minister of China, who are good friends with President Vladimir Putin. That's correct. Oh, the Chinese government does not want to hear that a royal family is being, controlled and ill-treated and also being taken full advantage of by a bunch of racist, arrogant son of a bitches who are nothing more than losers and sex addicts and criminals in this country. If only you knew. Yes, Prime Minister of China. Well, you should impose sanctions to the government of New Zealand is what I'm urging. That's correct. Because you should intervene on behalf of my royal family. That's correct. They shouldn't be targeting my 4 nieces. That's correct. Let alone my sister and her husband and my mommy. Or let alone this noble here. Now, I don't have any Chinese in me, but I wouldn't be surprised if I do. Tracing right back to King Genghis Khan, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Yes, the government of China or the Prime Minister of China, I urge you, you're right, Honorable, to intervene, to send possibly 1,000 of your most powerful, I much prefer the Shaolin monks, that's correct. But they sent maybe, 100,000. That would be generous. Well, after all, my second sister's children, they've got Chinese blood running through their veins. You're right, Honorable Prime Minister of China. And they are royal, that's good. So they are pure. So they are not to be treated like commoners in this country, let alone to be, treated like chattel or commodity by the government of New Zealand for its so-called allowing a criminal organization like the KKK and them to take advantage of my royal family by studying them and experimenting them and even denying our full privileges as citizens of this country. They're trying to lower our class down to a slave? How despicable and disgusting. That's correct. I dare you, Prime Minister of China. I'm a sovereign king. I'm a mixed sovereign king. I understand very well. There must be a lot of royal families as well in the so-called Chinese dynasty. And they would, they would declare war. They would go to war. If the government of New Zealand ever gave money deliberately to the Maoris, so that they could control other royal households in this country and control other more prestigious, more privileged, citizens of New Zealand. That's great. They might have been born overseas. Take advantage of my royal family. Oh my. and give us the treatment of the ill treatment like commoners and slaves, but we're not slaves. We never came in this country, immigrated, to be slaves, whether to the Maoris, who are seeming to, who seem to love, lowering your class down to a slave and a commodity to be used, to be called upon their beckon. That's correct. How disgusting. You people ought to stay out of my Facebook. That's correct. You do not access it. If the government gives you money to control us, who wear crowns, that's correct. Oh my God, that is so terrible. I know, disgusting. I couldn't care less if a Pākehā like a KKK, what they stand for and what they do, but they've got no right to hijack people and target royal people, that's correct, or noble people for their experiments, and also to deny their, the enjoyment of our full, civil liberties and privileges in this country as royals. Just because they're not royals don't mean that they can hijack us and study us and, my God, and start teaching us their garbages and rubbish that we don't need. Our blood is blue. Their blood is just ordinary. And I think nothing. The color of the blood of everybody here in New Zealand is not blue. The color of blood that runs through my bloodline, my immediate family, is blue. But what's happened is that the commoners somehow think now, because they've applied your rules, without payment, is stolen, of course, like thieves. Now they think they're royals. But inside, if they have to screen your blood, your blood is not royal. So for the commoners to go and deny it, it's so hilarious. It's so funny. How the commoners in this country, who are no more than just, commoners, that's great. Criminals and convicts and whores, go and deny the royal family. Oh my God. Royals who have, the royal blue in our so-called veins. And they think now that they're more, better than us. They're more above us. My gosh, that's what an insult. I know. To think that a nobody from nowhere, let alone, a commoner, come and think that they can wear the crown of a true royal, that's great, of a true noble. Let alone, pose themselves like imposters. My God, well, I guess that's why King Charles and the royal family in England are in England and not here in this country. My goodness, well, what would happen? Can you imagine that there might be another King Charles the Third here in New Zealand? There's King Charles III busy going about, that's correct, parading and they have no idea that there's another fake, a second King Charles III. And what's his name? Well, his name is Anthony Shaw, somewhere in Oriental Bay. This is, I don't know why the English, that's correct. And I don't know why everybody else is copying you, that's correct, or wanting to know what your royal family is doing. When their class are commoners. They should be focusing on, and using their own people, that's correct, rather than trying to hijack our family and suck the dear royal blood, royal life out of us, that's correct. Drain the royal blood, yeah. They're like vampires. They are like Draculas. When they see our family, it's like, oh my gosh, they can't, they can't help themselves staring and like admiring. I don't know what it is, but it looks like they're hungry. Because we are pure blood. And they are of tainted blood. That's correct. So what I'm saying right now, before I wrap up the so-called preaching of mine, New Zealand, you people, you need to respect our noble family. That's correct. You ought to stop taking advantage don't accept money from the KKK or even sex to apply their criminal, harmful protocols or arbitrary dictatorships. In my direction, because it's so insulting and offensive. That's correct. If you think that the things that I've been saying is offensive about your treaty partnership, well, you're now going to be taught a lesson by a noble if you don't stop what you're doing. That's correct, because it's against the law. And you know that. But you don't care. The problem with the Maoris in this country is that, like I said, the racist Pākehās, for all the bad things that they don't like about other people, they will get the Maoris to do it for them. That's correct. And for everything that the Maoris are jealous of, other non-Maoris, they will go through the Pākehā or get the Pākehā to do it for them. Now, is that right, the so-called evil, devious treaty apartheid partnership? No, it's not good at all. And it's very unhealthy as well. And the government of New Zealand, I don't understand what the government of New Zealand, why are they giving millions and billions, but millions and millions, and right up to the billion, that's correct, to the people of Aotearoa, or the Maoris in this case, to control people like our royal family and to deny our privileges as well. Everybody else is enjoying their privileges. I don't understand that. Why do people have to behave that way? But we've been here for the last 40 odd years. And we've never done anything, to target them. I really don't understand. Yes, correct. You people are in trouble now. But the two, that the two, they're gone. The KKK, MMB, it's finished. It's finished. I don't ever want to speak to a Maori because a Maori is a liar. Especially if they go and do bad, evil things on behalf of their treaty apartheid partnership. That's correct. They don't mind having sex with the Pākehā. As long as what? As long as they get what they want. That's correct. They don't mind being slaves to the stupid, racist, arrogant, son of a bitches, white niggas. They don't mind. Because, well, obviously they're addicted to sex. They've got that addiction, and then they've got all these other addictions as well. But don't make it my business. Don't bring it in my backyard. That's correct. My royal household are super special. That's correct. And we didn't come here in this country so that we can, be part of this devious treaty apartheid partnership that is so, it's full of idolatry and evil. Take it back. Take it back. We don't need your garbages and rubbish. But do not say one word to me. Don't come near me. A person that has been taught lessons enough and tortured by your people, that's correct. Don't need any of you to come near her, that's correct. Or let alone my immediate family. We don't need any of you. We don't need anything from you. You need to keep right away and don't dictate, don't do anything remotely on the level of a slave. We are not slaves. Thank God we know who we are. They obviously don't have any identities. And they obviously are slaves. Right, you all take care now. But as I said, I would never give my attention to people like that. They're sick, they're sick. People that are sick with erythromania are in those criminal organizations. Anthony Shaw, who is the lawyer in Orange Bay, you are the most sick son of a bitches. Son of a bitch, that's correct. You are really sick, you need help. And even someone like Stuart Mum needs help because obviously he'd been paid money by the KKK to control you for 8 years there at the so-called WINS facility and cover all 10 branches. Oh my God. What the fuck is that? That's correct. And I guess Anthony Shaw got paid lots of money by the KKK to give you that order of supervision, to mislead people in thinking that you had a sickness with erythromania, when in actual fact, the irony is That was actually a lie to control me psychologically, and also through drugging, and also through other arbitrary dictatorships and criminal protocols that are actually slave type protocols. You know, from a slave organization. KKK is a slave organization. MMB is a slave organization. That's correct. Right? I say no more. I say no more. Have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And I will let you know when the restraining order has been filed next year. Right. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.